There are some games that you go back and play when you're older, like I do a lot on my channel, that don't always feel or look or play the same way that you remember when you're a kid. Now, I'm not going to say that today's game is a perfect game, but I think that it does hold up. But does it hold up better than its newer version in the future? Well, we'll talk about that later, but for right now, let's talk about Stuntman.
Let the baseline get ya. Let the baseline get ya. Let the baseline get ya. 300 pounds of pressure.
Stuntman came out on the PlayStation 2 back in 2002, and it was made by Atari. So the main reason that I went back and played Stuntman was because me and my friend Greedy Waffles, aka Nick, never really got to finish the game when we were kids. The thing about this game is I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and it's mainly because we played through the game so many times because he didn't have a memory card back when we first started playing this game. And the funny thing is, by the time that he did get a memory card, we kind of grew out of the game. But I do still have a lot of fond memories playing the game. We were up all night one night during a sleepover, and we played Stuntman for the entire night. And we tried to leave his PlayStation on all night, and of course, power glitched and it turned his PlayStation off, and we couldn't save. But I remember playing a lot of this game at my friend's house, at Greedy Waffles' house, and we went back and started replaying the game on YouTube last year. And of course, there are some things about the game that I would like to criticize just because, in the future sense, I'm much more older and mature now. So I have new perspectives on a few things. But let's talk about some of the positives about the game. Actually, let's talk about what the heck the game is in the first place. So, what is Stuntman? Because you might be going, oh, what, do you do a trick, and then that's the end of it? Is it a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game, but you have a car? No, but the game has you being a stuntman, of course, like the name says, and you go through just like 4 or 5 levels for each movie. They vary, of course, in length and stuff like that, but the main theme of them is that you're following the director's actions while you go through these scenes. Now, I know you gotta kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit because directors don't just tell a stuntman while he's driving what he needs to do, and I think that you can kind of be like, well, the first time you go through it, it's like that, but by the time that you kind of learn it, you kind of know what you need to do for each one. It doesn't matter. Essentially, what happens is the director calls out moves for you to do. Now, whether you know the move or not depends on if you've read the manual. This game is a game that doesn't teach you. It just puts you right into the game and says, hey, go. And that's actually not too bad of a thing for this type of game. It's a driving game, it's a car game, right? Everyone knows how to drive a car in a video game. You press X to go and O to back up. Oh, my apologies. Cross to go and O to back up. But the one thing that's different about this game, rather than, a Burnout Paradise or any other racing game you can think of right now, is this game gives you those specific directions and you need to follow those directions to a T, or you're going to fail the mission, or the scene? Yeah, the scene. So essentially, there's several different movies of varying quality, and you go through them as the stuntman and you try and get the best scores you can. You try to do the director's actions as well as you can. And as long as you do the action, whether it be crashing through an object, going through a narrow passage, there's also like rolls and stunts you need to do, and there's also some other things like jumps and e-brake turns and reversing and driving backwards, and there's also a remote car section, which is terrible. But that's the cons, okay? So all in all, the presentation of the game is really well done. I think that the graphics do hold up. They do look pretty good for an early PlayStation 2 title. They don't look too bad at all, and you can go back and watch any of my live streams, or I even did like edited down Let's Plays of them, and you can see like it doesn't look too bad. It actually is a really nice looking game. The thing of it is the movies, like I said, they're a little bit of a varying quality, right? The first one's more so like a training movie called Toothless and Whapping, and that one just kind of teaches you the ropes of it all. And as you go through the game, the levels get increasingly harder. Now, the reason that I say that some of them are better than others, or there's, some are a little bit better than others, is because the stunts that you need to do, the physics just don't line up with the stunts. Now, what am I talking about here? So, let's say you go off of a jump, and it needs you to land in a specific spot. Well, when you go off of that jump, a whole bunch of things could happen, as they did happen during a lot of my live streams, where I would go off of a jump, and my car would be perfectly at an angle that I want it to be, and when it would land, it would just kind of like roll, and then it would randomly flip, or it would randomly go to the right, or randomly just not do what you wanted to do. It was really weird that this game relied so heavily on these car physics, but the physics for jumping your car were just so bad. You could not land a jump. I couldn't land a jump to save my life towards the end of the game. We were stuck on that last movie for a while because the game just wasn't allowing me to do the stunts that it wanted me to do. It gets even more difficult when there's stunts like drive under the truck while it's moving, or do an e-brake on a very small sliver of land, or there's just so many different things that could go wrong because the game's physics don't allow it. Now, you might be asking me, "Hey, Yemmy, you fucking dumbass, maybe you're just bad at the game." Well, maybe I am just bad at the game, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that it really is, the biggest factor is that the game's physics just don't allow you to do the certain jumps that you need to do. Another thing that really was a pitfall in this game is the thrill sections, the thrill stunt section. What is it called? Thrill show sections. So these little levels come after every movie. So you finish the movie, you get to watch the trailer for the movie, and you see the stunts that you did. And after that, you go into this like big arena. It's like a donut shaped, or like a NASCAR shaped racetrack kind of going around. And there's several different levels that you do of varying difficulty as you go on. So the first one's just like, hey, go through these fences and then jump over and knock into a car. I was having trouble on that, but we got through it pretty easily. The next one is, do stunts with other stunt drivers, so AI stunt drivers. And that one wasn't too bad either, because there wasn't much physicality to it. It was just kind of like, stay in the lane, do this, do that, etc. Things started to fall apart for the thrill sections when you had to do like the monster truck one, or the last one was probably the worst one. But the monster truck one, like I said, the physics for like jumping and stuff like that are not good. So when you're trying to crush a car with a monster truck, things get crazy really fast. The monster truck just wants to flip over and go crazy, and it's just like, I wish that this was better. The nice thing about the game, though, is that the game does hold up to a point. I think that once you get past the odd physics and the thrill shows, there's a lot of good content left in this game. The movies, each of them are unique, and they're based off of, or they're loosely, I shouldn't say they're based off of them, because we'll get, Atari will get sued again, but they're loosely based on movies like Indiana Jones and Mission Impossible and 007. There's also one that's based off of Starch and Husky, right? Is that the name of it? And also Dukes of Hazzard as well. So there's a little bit something for everyone, and you'll kind of recognize a few things here or there, right? And overall, I think that the movies are the best part of the game. They encapsulate something that we've all kind of wanted to do, right? At one point or another. We all kind of wanted to be in a movie or something like that. And I think it's a really cool concept, and I think that the game does that pretty well. There's not much else to do in the game besides from the movies, the stunts, the action. I think there's just some special features, and like you can rewatch the trailers for the movies again. But other than that, there's really not much to do than just replay the levels. There is a like create your own like stunt section where you get like at the end of each scene, depending on how good you do, you'll get new cars, new obstacles, new things, ramps, and stunt stuff, and you can get that kind of stuff. And you can actually make your own stunt sections. Now, I've never really delved into it, but I don't think that you can like create your own scene like you can in the game that's after this one. But it's still a cool little thing that I think that is a little bit of a wasted potential. But they do fully utilize it in the next game, so I guess it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, all in all, Stuntman is a game that, even though I had nostalgia for, and I loved the game when I was a kid, that nostalgia didn't really blind me from the fact that it does have its problems. And even though it does have its problems, I don't think that they're so glaring that it will ruin your experience with the game. Yes, it may frustrate you when you go off of a jump and you suddenly just start barrel rolling into existence. But the main crux of the game is still pretty solid, and it's a good, fun game. And if you have a retro console, or if you have the ability to play a PS2 with like what I have, an HDMI converter, I think it's a really fun playthrough, and I think that it's an underrated gem. So all in all, I think I would put Stuntman in the B category, because I think it's better than most of the things that we've played on Twitch, but I do think that the amount of like the physics and stuff like that really bring it back down to earth. I know I did have a lot of frustration with this game, especially when we were replaying level over and over and over and over and over again. But I think all in all, in the end, I still had a lot of fun with the game, and I would recommend it for anyone to play. Now, there is a game that came out after this one, which we'll talk about in the future, that good buddy Callus recommended that I play, because I love Stuntman so much. And we'll talk about that game in the future, of course. It's called Stuntman Ignition, but for right now, just know that Stuntman gets my seal of approval. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. You have a great day.